I think we are fully charged. 3.38. Cell number 16 is our lowest cell now. What is going on? Okay, let's have a closer look. Guys, welcome back to the Off-Grid Garage here in a bit of a mixed weather today. We've got lots of sunshine and then there are clouds like just now. It goes between 1000 watts when the cloud is there to 16,000 watts when the sun comes out again. And the MPPTs are really, really busy. All right, let's go into the JK BMS app and go to the CATL CB530. There it is, number 10. And see what's going on. Yeah, we can see cell number 16 here is by far the lowest, 3.35. Well, we have some other cells, cell number 1, 2 and 4 for example, number 6 as well. They are at 3.3 something volts as well. The 3 cells I have done the capacity tests with were 13, 14 and 15. We can see these are the highest cells now as well. But then we also have cell number 10 and cell number 8, which is a bit of an outlier as well. Cell number 4. Yeah, so it is a bit all over the place. So 228 millivolt deviation at the moment. Everything goes into cell number 16. I think I will connect the big Chinese cracker again and recharge cell number 16 a bit to 3.45 volts maybe or so. And then the balancer can take care of all the other cells in the pack here and see what it can do. But it may take until tomorrow morning until the battery is actually fully top balanced and we can start the capacity test. Yeah, why are they all so different? Because they are B-grade and used cells and who knows what else. Okay, positive, negative is connected. Let's go into settings. Discharge 40 amps, 2.5 volts. And we can set a time. So let's set 20 minutes. Hang on, this is wrong. But in this case we don't want to discharge, we want to charge. Yeah, charge. 40 amps, 3.5 volts, yeah, that's okay. I have to stay here anyway and monitor the situation. Okay, so we are injecting now 40 amps into the MB56 cell. Let's find out if we can see any increase in voltage already. So that's 98, 90, so it's 71, 69. Oh, now cell number 2 is the lowest all of a sudden. Look at this shit. Do you remember the good old times when we did the manual balancing of all the cells? And I had to connect the power supply now to cell number 2 and recharge this until another cell was the lowest. And then I went back and forth for hours. So I did a manual top balancing basically, because these passive balancers in the older BMSs, I would say, they were just not capable of balancing these cells automatically. So we had to do it manually. Okay, I'm just watching cell number 16 here. We don't want to charge it too high, but 3.382 is still a bit low. So I'd probably charge it to 3.45 or so. So it sits directly in the middle of all cells. And then the JK inverter BMS can handle the top balancing itself, hopefully. Yeah, and this is a big disadvantage of this active balancer in the JK BMS, or even of an knee active balancer, because it can balance only one cell at a time. Yeah, at the moment it is flashing number 2, so it is actually charging number 2, now flashing number 10, discharging this cell. You can see the balance current is negative up here. Now discharging cell number 13. See, it does it only for a couple of seconds until another cell is the highest, and then it switches over to cell number 15 now until another cell is the highest again. There, 13 again. It will go back to number 10. There goes number 10. Fills up the super caps inside, and now it releases this stored energy again into cell number 2 and raises the voltage a bit. Balances with 2 amp into this cell now for a couple of seconds until the super caps are empty. It is only for a few seconds, and 2 amps for a few seconds. This is not much capacity, so it will take a long time. And this is where the capacitive active balancers, you know, the little PCBs with all the capacitors on side, where they are really a lot better than the JK inverter BMS balancer or a knee because they balance all the cells at the same time. Yeah, they're shifting energy from one cell into another and doing this multiple times with all the connected cells. So they're far more efficient and a lot quicker. But we haven't got one connected yet, so we are reliant on the JK inverter BMS. And we just need to be patient, I guess. Okay, leave this running for a while here. Cell number 16, 3.4 volts. So we're getting close. And I cannot reach cell number 2 anyway, because this is in the bottom part of the battery. So there would be no way to connect the Chinese cracker, the charger, to cell number 2. But what I can do is I can discharge cell number 13, 14 and 15 a bit, because they are all high. And cell number 10 as well, because they are all in the top compartment here of this battery. So I can do that while the active balancer is working to speed up things, because I really want to start discharging this battery tomorrow morning. Yeah, I told my wife not to charge her car. I said, wait for it. This battery is almost full, and then you've got 20 kilowatt hours of beautiful stored solar energy, and this all can go into your vehicle then. But we need to start tomorrow morning because she wants to go somewhere on Tuesday, and the car needs to be ready by then. So tomorrow is Monday, I think. Can't remember. So yeah, we have to start early to get this all done, because it will take a while to discharge 27 kilowatt hours. Yeah, okay. Let me do some discharging of 10, 13, 14, 15 with this device here, and then we let the balancer go. Let it do its thing overnight, and hopefully tomorrow morning it is all good. So I'm now discharging cell number 13, 14 and 15. These three here, because they are all high. And I figured out if I set the charger here to 4, so discharging with 40 amps for 4 minutes, this exactly discharges 2.6 ampere hours, and this will bring these cells in line with all the other cells mostly, and it seems to be okay then. See, cell number 13 I still need to do, and when I turn on the discharger, you can see how quickly the cell voltage goes down, because 3.6 volts is in the super steep area of the curve. And here it comes down. So we're taking 2.6 ampere hours out, and I need to do the same with cell number 10, but I cannot reach cell number 8 anymore because this is in the bottom of the battery. So unfortunately this is something the active balancer need to do itself, but I can see it's already working on cell number 8. Once cell number 10 is down, it can concentrate on cell number 8 and cell number 2, which are both in the bottom of the battery, and it should be fine. Alright, let's keep this running. We are at 225 millivolt deviation still, which is not great, but expected. And I've also isolated the battery from the solar system now and charge it with the adjustable power supply here to 55.2 volts with a very low current of around 500 milliamps only. If I go higher, the cells will go very close to 3.65, and then the BMS will turn off. So we leave it sitting at this half an amp only, and this will keep the battery at 55 volts, and it's ideal for the active balancer to do its work. Alright, we are close to 4 minutes now and have discharged 2.3 ampere hours already. Unfortunately, this method only works while discharging, not while charging. So in the charging process I cannot set a timer like here with discharging. Not sure why. There's a bit of a limitation. 4 minutes. There it goes, and then it stops automatically, which is fantastic. 2.6 ampere hours, and cell number 13, 3.39 volts. Alright, cell number 10, and that's all we can do. Okay, let's see what we have here in the morning. 9 millivolt deviation, look at this, beautiful. All the cells have balanced. 3.7 volts around, 3.76, 3.78. That is nice. So the battery is now fully balanced, kind of top balanced. What we can do is now we can increase the voltage to 56 volts or something. So give it the max, whatever it is. And here's some power as well. And we'll probably see the deviation will increase a bit here. 13 millivolt deviation now, 12. the JK-BMS is balancing down to 10 millivolt. So even with this increased voltage now, 56 volts, we are still good. So my experience is, once you fully balance your battery to 3.45 volts, 55.2 pack voltage, and let it sit there for a while, and it balances down to 10 millivolt, even if you increase then the charge voltage to 56 or 57 volt, the battery usually stays balanced. There might be a very short increase of cell imbalance, the deviation, but after a couple of seconds, as we can see here, we are now down to 11 millivolt again. So this is all top balanced, I would say. JK-BMS for the win. And this is basically how you do it. Yeah, you isolate your battery from your rest of your system, then use a adjustable power supply, set it to 55.2 volts, connect it, and let the JK-BMS do its thing. And overnight, it usually balances out the whole pack, even with these larger 530 ampere hour cells here, no problem. Okay, we let this sit here for a while, for another half an hour, hour or so, until the voltage stabilizes at 57 volts or something. We will have another look. I prepare everything for the discharge, and then we just need to wait for my wife's car to come back so we can charge it. Discharge it. Discharge this one and charge the vehicle. So, yeah. Alright, my friends, welcome back to the late night show here in the Off-Grid Garage. We are going to start the discharge test now. It is close to 11 p.m. and I want to start late because the discharge will take about 10 hours, 10 to 11 hours or so. So it will take place overnight, and hopefully tomorrow morning I'm awake early enough to witness the shutdown of the JK inverter BMS in this box here, and we have a result of the capacity and energy of this test. So I have prepared everything for the discharge test. We have the tests, the smart shunt test here in the negative line coming from the battery going back to the system. The system in this case is the Powerwall 2.0 here behind all these batteries, and connected is the Phoenix inverter, which will dump all the energy from this battery into the Multiplus, and here it is already running, charging the vehicle. Yeah, all the other batteries are turned off, all the circuit breakers are shut down, everything is turned off. This is the only battery connected to the Powerwall, and I'm just trying to recharge the battery as high as possible. 57 volts we have reached now. So there we go, there you can see it, 56.9 volts. We've got a deviation of 11 millivolt. Balancer is still running. I have set the balance trigger voltage to 5 millivolts, so why not let it balance to 5 millivolt. It's still taking 0.8 amps or so, but all the cells here you can see they are 3.55555 volts. Cell number 16 is the highest at the moment. It is slightly higher, 10 millivolt higher, but the balancer is still running, and we give it another 2 minutes or so and then we start the test. But I think under 10 millivolt now deviation, that is fairly top balanced, right? So let's start the Phoenix inverter and dump the energy into the Multiplus and the vehicle. Before we do that, we should go to the Victron Connect app and check the Smart Shunt Powerwall Smart Shunt test down here. Jeez, the third Smart Shunt. Alright, it measures the battery voltage. You know what? I have to disconnect the Anderson connector, which is connecting the Powerwall to the battery shelf. That's why we had such a low voltage shown in the Smart Shunt, and now you can see we have lost connection altogether. But I'm turning on the battery now, so we get the full voltage on the Powerwall, and this should give us the full battery voltage of 57.38 volts now. That was a good test actually, showing the lower voltage of the battery shelf. So we've got 530 ampere hours. That's correct, yes. All the other settings are not relevant here. State of charge is on 0%. Why is that? Yes, of course. Yeah, let's set this one here to 100. It would reset automatically after a minute or so to 100%, but let's set it to 100. So we are fully charged. 57.6 volts now. Let's have a look at the deviation again. 6 millivolt we are down now. So 100% top balance the battery. That is cool. Why do we have already 4 amps? 4 amps is still the charging current into the battery. Alright. So I'm turning off the charger now. So charging current should go to 0. We go into Home Assistant. We go to the generator gauge and turn this one on. I could hear the click of the Sonoff, which turns on the Phoenix inverter. And we should see this one coming on any second. Yes, there's a green light. And in another couple of seconds we should see the mains on light coming on. And then we should see a discharge current here in the JK BMS. It's the standby current. There it is, mains on. And we are discharging our Frankenstein battery. 34 amps only. Oh, okay. I need to fiddle around with the settings a bit to get the maximum current out of the battery. Yeah, 37.8, so close to 40 amps. And time remaining says 1 day, 11 hours. That would be tomorrow afternoon or something. Okay, that's ridiculous, but it goes down now. So it changes the calculations after a moment. So hopefully it goes down to about 10 to 12 hours. Okay, the remaining time comes down now, thankfully. We're discharging with 2 kilowatt, 37 amps. This will increase after a while because the voltage of the battery will lower. And then because we are still discharging with 2 kilowatt, the current will increase. So we should see about 42, 43, 44 amps at some stage. 38 now, see it's increasing slightly. Okay, let's leave it running. Checking on the BMS. We've got a cell deviation of 58 millivolt, which is quite high for such a small current. And cell number 9 is our lowest. Now cell number 9 is our highest. Yeah, once an inverter is connected to the JK BMS, you cannot read any voltages anymore. Look how they go up and down all the time. So it's very hard to pinpoint the highest and lowest cell here. Still 57 millivolt deviation. It's now 36. Okay, it changes back and forward. It should be fine. Temperatures 26, 26, 26, all of 26. Everything looks okay. Let's leave it running. Guys, let me go to bed, please. I'm tired. Okay, we will see us again in the morning at about 7 or 8 a.m. and we will have a look. I'll keep monitoring the situation over the mobile phone during the night. No, I won't. And let's see how many ampere hours we can discharge from the new Frankenstein battery with the CATL CB530 cells plus 1 MB56 cell. 2.3 ampere hours pulled from this machine. Oh, the history. We've forgotten the history. Jeez. Nobody said anything. Okay, let me do this right now. 16.6 kilowatt hours. Okay, it's only 2 ampere hours off, so negative 2 ampere hours, that's fine. Alright my friends, as always in the late night show, you have a good night's sleep, a wonderful night, and we see us again tomorrow morning. Guys, welcome back to the Off-Grid Garage. It is now the next day. The battery is still discharging. It is early afternoon. And the first cell has dipped under 3 volts, so I think we are getting very close now. 6% state of charge, the BMS claims. And we are also getting a low battery warning here from the Phoenix inverter. And I think this is because we have gone under 50 volts. Then the light comes on. It's just a warning at the moment, so nothing to worry about. We've got 270 millivolt deviation already. But this is because, look at all the cells, yeah? They're all good, they're all next to each other, they are all within the same range, except of cell number 16, which was absolutely expected. Yeah, this is our MB56 cell, and it has 140 ampere hours more capacity. So of course, this cell number 16 will be the cell with the highest voltage at the end, and this shows already now 270 millivolt deviation. We have all the other cells are around 3 volts, a little bit under, a little bit over. So that is actually perfect. So they are well matched. No issues there. Alright, let's have a look at the smart shunt test, which says already 0%, I guess. Yes, 0%. 41 amps we are discharging, 2 kilowatt, and we have consumed 530.9 ampere hours already. So we have reached the rated capacity of these cells, which is fantastic. And let's have a look at the history. 27.5 kilowatt hours. Wow. That is also more. Hang on. 530 ampere hours times 3.2 volts per cell times 16 makes 27.13 kilowatt hours nominal energy storage. And we have reached already 27.5 kilowatt hours. So we're getting more energy delivered from this battery as it is rated for. That is always good. It may take another 10 minutes, 15 minutes or so until we see the first cell dipping under 2.6 volts, and then it gets interesting. So I'll be right back. It looks like cell number 10 is our lowest. Oh no, cell number 13 now. Perfect. If it changes, that is very beautiful. It means the cells are well matched, which it didn't look like at the beginning. Yeah, when we had a look at the cells, they were all over the place, so there was a bit of inconsistency in charge. But after the first top balance and now discharging the cells, it looks extremely good. Alright, let's give it another 5-10 minutes and then I'll be back with the final result. 27.6 kilowatt hours now. Beautiful. Alright, so we're almost there. Cell number 10 will be our cell with the lowest voltage, 2.65 volts now. Cell number 16 is still going strong, of course. So we're not looking at the 550 millivolt deviation this pack has. Absolutely normal. Just look at cell numbers 1 to 15. How consistent they discharge. It is beautiful to watch. So we had 45.1 volts pack voltage and discharging with 44 amps. The remaining battery has just changed to 0% here in the BMS because we have reached 2.7 volts. This is how it is set. The cycle capacity is only 518.2 ampere hours. And that is in rare contrast to the smart shunt, which says we have discharged 541.5 ampere hours. Now we have here 46 amps in the smart shunt, and over there we have 44 amps only. So that's why the BMS is a bit lower. Okay, let's quickly measure the amps. Oh, we have missed it. Screenshot. Alright, here we are back. I just connected the power supply quickly to see what's going on. 27.7 kilowatt hours, 530. See, this has changed now. Because we already have seen before. Hang on, I've done a screenshot. There we go. We have seen 542.1 ampere hours. Yeah, that was very close to the shutdown. So this will be our final result basically, which is an insane result because we have tested the cells only with 540-ish ampere hours. Yeah, and the whole battery delivers the exact same amount. That is insane. But 27.7 kilowatt hours. So that's 0.6 kilowatt hours more than rated. Do we have the time in here as well? I think it has reset already. Shit. Well, we started at 11:30 last night. Well, we can have a look at the computer because this BMS here was connected to Home Assistant, so I've got all the data we need. So I've just disconnected the battery from the Powerwall 2.0 from the bus, isolated it, and have connected the power supply again, positive here on the fuse and negative here on the negative terminal. And you can see here the battery voltage is at 45.8 volts only, yeah? And we are charging with 5 amps with this power supply, so it will take a while. But we have to lift the voltage up again before we can turn on this breaker, yeah? Because all the other batteries I have connected again now are on 53.9, 54 volts. And this would be a huge inrush current into this battery and would potentially kill the 300 amp fuse inside here, trip the circuit breaker and the BMS as well. Something you cannot definitely do, connect an empty battery to a stack of full batteries. So we have to wait until this voltage here comes up to 52 volts or something, maybe 51.5, and then we can turn on the circuit breaker again. If it still gets an overcurrent, the current limiter will kick in and limit the current to 10 amps. But I would never do this in this state now. There will be a couple of 100 amps going into this battery then. Not good. All right, let's have a look at some of the curves of this discharge test. So what we can see here is the discharge curve. Yeah, and it looks very much like a discharge curve we have seen many times before from lithium iron phosphate cells. While here it is the whole pack voltage what we can see, but obviously it behaves the same as all the 16 individual cells. Yeah, zoom in a bit here. Yeah, that's where we started here at 57.68 volts. And then it drops down very quickly, and look at this. It stays at 52.8 volts, 0.9, goes up and down a little bit. It stays there forever. This is 2 a.m. in the night, 3, 4, 5, 6 a.m. So we're going a little bit down. Let me zoom out again here, that's better. And it stays just flat. Probably until here, 51 volts around, and then we can see the curve is slowly going down. And we zoom in here at the end again. And this is here 50 volts. That's where I have set my warning. So I'm getting a warning on mobile phone and home assistant, everything when the battery is at 50 volts. But this is obviously still above 3 volt cell voltage. So not really something to worry about. And then we enter the steep decline in the voltage curve all the way down 46. Yeah, 48 volts. This is usually where I stop my inverter to discharge the battery. But here in the test, we just kept going until the first cell was at 2.5 volts. Yeah, 46, 45, 44, and that was it. 44.6 volts was the lowest we could discharge the battery before it turned off. So stopping at 48 volts is probably a wise decision. And then you have still a couple of ampere hours left until one of the cells hits the 2.5 volts. So this is the voltage curve. There's not too much to see actually. I've got some other curves. Let me show this. Yeah, what we can see here for the same time period is the current. Yeah, we're starting at 0 and then we started charging the battery a bit with 4.9 amps. Yeah, bring it up all the way to 57 volts, and then we started discharge test. Boom, goes down to negative 35.7, and then it stays fairly flat. Yeah, so it's getting a little bit noisy from here around 6 a.m. in the morning. And I was thinking, what is going on? What is happening at 6 a.m. in the morning? And then here it gets more noisy. And then it flattens out again. Yeah, very constant discharge current, 38 amps. And we've got these spikes. Here's a big one. And this is always when the current coming from the inverter is going down. So we're discharging the battery less. And it is even more apparent here from around 10:30, 11 o'clock. It gets really noisy. And what you can see here is a cloudy day. And this is when the solar kicks in and takes over the inverter load. If the tilt system produces 1.5 or 2 kilowatts, we are using less from the battery, obviously. And you can see here the current goes down from negative 40 almost to negative 24. Yeah, and then there's a cloud, so we're using more battery power again to supply power to the load because this is fairly constant. And then we've got these peaks, sun comes, sun goes. Here again, a little bit of sunny period, and then it goes down again using more power from the battery. So pretty interesting. But we can have a detailed look at the cell voltage delta over the period of the discharge of this battery. So obviously we are starting here at somewhere 30, 50 millivolt deviation during the whole discharge. And this stays fairly constant. There's one little spike here, for whatever reason, could be a measurement error as well. And then you can see here the deviation goes up. Yeah, while our cell voltage is going down, we are slowly creeping up. And then before we go into the steep area of the curve, voltages in the cells are lowering and the deviation is increasing. So this is very nice to see here. So from this point all the way up here, basically, how it is ramping up, and we've got more and more deviation in the cells. Yeah, and then here, obviously, that was shortly after 12. I don't know what voltage that was, but you can see how the curve now shoots up because the deviation gets larger and larger. And this is, of course, mainly because of cell number 16, which is the MB56 cell. And this keeps the voltage fairly constant. I've got another graph here. And here we have all the 16 cells as an overlay in one graph. Let's have a look here. 3.6 volts we had the cells on. You can see it up there on the table. And then it goes down quickly and then flat, flat, flat until here. And then you can see cell number 16. Yeah, the top one just keeps the voltage constant. We zoom in here in this area. Yeah, it just keeps going while the other 15 cells, they are dropping down because they are empty. And cell number 16 just keeps the 3.2 volts constant because there's still another 140 ampere hours left in this battery. So there's no way the voltage drops down in this cell, but all the other 15s are doing it, obviously. And from here on, you can probably see that cell number 10 was our lowest. Yeah, cell number 10 is actually going steeper down than all the other cells. So this is our weakest cell, but we are already here under 3 volts. So there is less than 5% of the battery capacity left, and it is totally fine if the deviation then increases and the cells are diverting. And cell number 10, the blue line, goes all the way down, 2.496 volts. That was the point when the BMS turned off. And then we had a bit of a break, and then the cell voltage is recovered, so you can see the voltage going slowly up again. So there you go. Basically, this is all the information I have about this cell. So very interesting to look at these curves and analyze what the battery actually did at different stages of the discharge test. But overall, I'm very happy and pleased with the result. And cell number 16 obviously helped here a lot. But all these 15 CATL cells, they seem to be fairly close together, fairly matched at some stage. And they're going down as a big cell community. Alright my friends, I think so far this video from today, from yesterday and today, discharging the CATL CB530 plus 1 MB56 cell. This is certainly not a recommended setup, and once we get the CATL replacement cell, we will take out the MB56 again and put the original CATL cell into this battery. Yeah, unfortunately the configuration and orientation of the cells needs to stay as it is. I cannot get 8 of these cells into one row because all of them have a bit of a belly. So as I said before, I'm not sure what these cells went through, but obviously they perform just fine. We're getting the rated capacity out of them, but the overall visual appearance of these cells is not great. They look used, they look B grade, they look even C grade, but the performance, nothing to complain about. Yeah, unfortunately I cannot link these CB530 ampere hour cells down in the video description because none of our reliable partners has them in stock. So only EVE Battery and Global Power have some CATL cells, but not the 530 ampere hour version. These are all the smaller ones, 314 ampere hours and 280 ampere hours, which we have tested here in one of the last videos. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for your amazing support here on the channel. More videos are coming soon. If you like this sort of content, consider subscribing to the channel. Leave a nice comment down below. And until the next video, guys, you stay charged, stay safe, and thanks again for watching. See you then. Bye-bye.